What's your questions?
Okay, so state your name, my good sir.
My name is Shane Odom, O-D-O-M, but I go by Brambleberry here at the fair.
Excellent. How long have you been purveying your craft here?
So my craft I've had here at the Renaissance Fair for 24 years. I have been a working Rennie for 42 of my 52. So
That's awesome. Okay, so what would you say the Renaissance Fair does for your creativity?
Oh, well, the Renaissance Fair is all of my creativity because this is where I began my career, my craft. The vast menagerie of colors and sights and smells. I mean, it's been happening since the first one. The Birds, the band from the 60s, wrote a song in 1965 that says, "I think I'm dreaming. Colors in the air, incense, maidens with flowers." So it fills you up. And then, of course, we're doing it outdoors, and my work is very nature-themed.
Exactly.
So, right.
Okay, so the article that I read stated that the first Renaissance fairs were subversive in nature because of how they were a reaction to McCarthyism and
Yes.
all of that.
Yes.
So what can you expand on that in any way? As far as Maryland Renaissance
I often
goes.
say, I wouldn't say they're subversive. It's definitely counterculture. We've got a counter between us and the community usually. But not everyone certainly subscribes to that. I wouldn't put a generalization on Ren Fair, but the Renaissance Fair is a place where you can be yourself. And anytime you can be yourself, you exhibit a certain level of freedom, which of course is odd since we're representing 1536 England, which was under a theocratic dictatorship. And people were being slaughtered by the droves for their religion. So we're all pretending. It's a complete fantasy, no matter what kind of history you want to lay on top of it. But yes, certainly the roots of the Renaissance Fair are in that. I often say that hippies do not create Renaissance fairs. Renaissance fairs create hippies because they were pre-Summer of Love, and they were the founding grounds of a lot of that expressive creativity that came out in the Summer of Love in 67, 68. And out here, when my friends who own booths tell me that they were at Woodstock, they usually were helping set up the sound. I mean, they were not only just there, they were there helping put it on. So
That's amazing.
Yep.
Okay, so would you then say that Renaissance fairs created a renaissance of hand making and handcrafting?
Oh, absolutely. So Renaissance fairs are one of the foundations of the American craft culture. The American craft revival was starting in the early and middle 60s, but really the Southern California Fair inspired a lot of that American handcraft revival and have been one of the feeding grounds for the American craft community. Unfortunately, that's not as true anymore, except for a handful of fairs like Maryland, where we're almost exclusively handcraft. Many fairs have 30 to 40% resale. We only have a couple of resale booths here, and those are booths that really are only resell for certain reasons. You know, like we have a sword booth for imports because the blacksmiths, they can sell more swords than the hand blacksmith can.
Right.
We have a gift shop. Other than that, everything's handcraft, and usually the handcrafters are behind the counter. I'm just out here talking to you.
You're amazing. All right. If you could impart one thing to people who don't quite know about Renaissance fairs, what would you use to describe our experience here at Revel Grove?
It's rare that I'm speechless. Goodness.
One of the reasons I like
can't.
it.
I can't do one word, but I can do,
Well, a short little explanation.
It's a colorful expression of celebratory spirituality. So even if it's not something you see as a spiritual expression, it is a spiritual expression of our humanity. We are here, this is Revel Grove, it's 1536, we're having a harvest festival.
Yes.
And so we're celebrating the harvest in color and form and light and laughter and joy and music. And that's what we're here to do. It's a festival, and you're supposed to be festive.
That's amazing. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
This is perfect.
You'd like another 2 or 3 hours sometimes? No,
absolutely.
You were talking about that Well Met.
Yes.
You're talking about the article, which
Yes.
is about Southern history, but then also there's the history, the book Well Met that was put in there.
Yes.
I was interviewed for that as well. Rachel Rubin was here quite
Amazing.
a while. Great book if you haven't read it.
Okay, I'm assuming that's at page after page.
They might or might not have it. It's academic, so it's very expensive. it's hard to get a hold of academic books.
Yeah.
The academic presses are, I think it's like $60 for a hardback. I mean, it's
Gotcha.
So yeah, oddly enough, I'm quoted in it about road dog life, which is something I haven't done because I came here 20 years ago and I'm not a road dog anymore.
Right.
So the quote is in there is that you're not a road dog if you're not looking at plywood 6 months out of the year, and I don't do that because I have 2 shops in Maryland.
Yeah.
So if I have 2 contracts here, I don't have to be a road dog all the time.
Exactly.
I make 60 to 80% of my income here, and then go do another wonderful expression. Have you been to a fairy festival?
I have.
Okay, so the fairy festivals are an outgrowth of the Renaissance Fair, and I would argue a much more resonant outgrowth of that expression. I help put on fairy festivals throughout the Mid-Atlantic. I'm on staff for the New York Fairy Festival.
Excellent.
So come to New York sometime.
Yes.
New York is a hell of a party.
I am so there for that.
So there's 2 big ones now on the East Coast. There's the May Day Fairy Festival in Baltimore, put on by Baltimore Parks.
Right.
And then there's New York. There is also Festival 11 in North Carolina. There's a bunch of smaller fairy festivals.
Right.
I would say that if you were to put all the fairy festivals in a word as slightly domestic, New York is just as feral. The event is rather feral and rather intense.
That sounds amazing.
We have a patron camping bonfire and masquerade ball. So one night there's a bonfire and a live band and a drum jam, and Saturday night there's a masquerade ball, electrified masquerade ball in the woods. And I'm on staff for that show, and we have a fairy queen. Our court is all fairy there.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
My offspring is Puck, Robin Goodfellow to the queen.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah, New York's a lot of fun.
Thank you so very much. You are amazing. And may I put this on YouTube as well?
You certainly may. Yes, certainly.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Thank you. Bye-bye.